What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today I'm going to be giving my thoughts and continuing Jordan Reed's brand new mock draft. It's a couple days old. Some of you maybe have seen it on Broshmo's channel, but I do something different. I continue it for an extra round, and I have much different opinions than people like Broshmo. So if you guys have already seen that, this is going to be a totally different video, so feel free to stick around. If you guys are new, I would love to have you guys stay here. We just breached 6K literally a week or two ago, and we're already up to 6250. You guys are absolutely awesome. You guys are giving me so much love, and I just want to give it back to you guys. Yesterday, I was going to do round 3, took a personal day, and as of today, we'll talk about it. Jared Verse is deciding to return. So when that pick comes up in this mock draft, we'll definitely discuss it, but I'm still going to continue the mock draft, add an extra round to it so that we have a little bit more fun than just me scrolling through a web page, because I think you guys deserve a little bit more effort than that. I ain't just here to chase some dollars, all right? So let's go. If you guys do see this right below my face, that is my big board. Yes, if you have issues with it, feel free to ask me about it. I know my number 2 player in the draft is absolutely insane to 99.999% of people. But come to the Discord. Link is in the description. We have over 500 people there now. So feel free to join, and I will be more than willing. Hey, if you DM me, I might even do it one-on-one with you. It's absolutely free. We do tape studies there in all 22 that I can't do here on YouTube. Feel free to join. I would love to be able to talk to you guys, just as I have to all of you guys elsewhere. So other links are in the description as well. We'll leave it right there, starting off with the mock draft. I've already preloaded this one up, and I'm going to be honest, the majority of these picks are not too shabby, and I'm very happy to see that, especially in the sports journalism world, there's still a little bit of hope. But Bryce Young, number 1 overall, it just feels like the thing to do right now. I know a lot of people are on the CJ Stroud hype train, but it doesn't erase, like, a great game versus Georgia was the best thing that could have happened to him, and losing that game in the way that he did probably was the best possible outcome for him, because he played very well against the best team, and then he also then was able to lose, but not because of how he played. So, you know, he's at the highest point that he'll ever be. Could he be the number 1 pick? 100%. A lot of people might get very scared of Bryce's measurables, and it is certainly scary. I don't disagree. It is certainly scary. However, just because it hasn't happened recently doesn't mean it can't happen. And Bryce Young brings the ability to lead, the ability to process, and just the overall ability to handle situations that are very translatable to the NFL that some of these other guys don't always have. So I love that. Bryce Young is very, very, very talented up here. And that's something that's the big issue for a lot of quarterbacks going into the NFL. But of course, unlike those big projects that end up being the guys who get taken highly because of what they could be, he doesn't have the physical attributes to warrant such hype. But again, Bryce Young, to me, so he's a different level of prospect in the quarterback category. I hope to God that the criticizers of his size are proven wrong. And again, no one wants to see someone get hurt. So I hope the best for him in his career. The Bears going Jalen Carter. I think that's great. It's a pick that I do. And this edge class is a lot deeper than the defensive interior class. So being able to get Jalen Carter here is very, very good value. Excellent value. He's one of the guys who has he's the highest ceiling player in the class. But his floor is certainly lower than others. And the inconsistencies prove that. And he is somebody who I think will hit his ceiling. But on my board, it factors that into account. He has an amazing ceiling. He could be the best player, best defensive lineman not named Aaron Donald in the NFL. But at the same time, there are a lot of reps where it's like, what's going on there? Why aren't you performing the way you are? And the combine is going to be a huge determining factor of whether I put him at 1 or put him at 15. Because last year, I was pretty down on Jordan Davis until the combine because he was out of shape. He was taking reps off. I don't like that very much. But when I saw him go to the combine, you could see it in his face. He's been working his ass off. He got himself into shape. That shows personal drive. And he's been absolutely phenomenal. I raised him up from probably 60 on my big board all the way up to 12, and he's well deserving of that. Jalen Carter is going to be in a similar mold. If he shows up to the combine and looks absolutely in shape, hands down number 1 player, because it shows that he's working himself in the offseason. It's a long-winded way of saying Jalen Carter should be the best player, should be the number 1 player, but that's why he's not number 1 right now. Seahawks are going to get the leftovers. Will Anderson, I don't think there's much to discuss here. Some people want CJ. I'm just going to wait till next year, to be honest. Pick number 4, Cardinals going Tyree Wilson. Now, I like Tyree. 6'6", 275. He's an athletic freak for sure. And I think that he has a lot to grow. But the thing is, he has a lot of room to grow before he's going to be consistent as an NFL pass rusher. Really good run stuffer. He does have some really good day one traits. But if I'm sitting here at 4, and I know this mock doesn't have traits, so for the people who are saying you should trade out of this pick, I agree. I mean, I would totally trade out of this pick because the Colts are picking a QB next, and either you're going to trade with the Colts and get some damn good value, or you're going to trade with another team and get some damn good value. And this team needs a couple more pieces than just Tyree Wilson. But I digress. Tyree Wilson is an amazing player. He has ungodly potential. Do I think he'll reach it here? I'm not sure. Do I think he's worth the number 4 pick? No. I mean, you guys get to see where he is on my board. Like, check it out. It's 16. That's still a phenomenal player. And if he goes in this range to the right team, I'm absolutely going to give it maybe a B+. A little bit of a reach, but still, you're taking a shot on what he could be, similar to Travon Walker. But I can't get on board with taking him at 4. I can't. But I understand. If you took Myles Murphy here, which is something I like to do, which Myles Murphy has slid down my board about what? He used to be at number 6. Now he's at number 8. I know it doesn't sound like that much, but it's hard to like put him below BJ Ojulari. Jared Verse needs to come off my board, but that just happened literally 20 minutes ago. I digress. I just think that there's better options here than Tyree Wilson, and I would prefer to go elsewhere, but I would not shame them. I would give this pick probably a B- if it happens, because there's definitely positive attributes to that pick. Colts going to CJ. With the hype that he has right now, I don't think he's getting past 5. I don't think he gets past 4 in the real draft, but he's my QB2. I have him there at 20 because the all-22 from the game has not come out. So I boosted him from 32 up to 20, but I'm just waiting to see the actual tape from the game in all-22 before I have a definitive ranking of him on my board. I digress. Let's continue on. Brian Breezy, this is the one where it kind of got me twisted a little bit. Like 4 and 6 were probably my least favorite picks of the draft by memory. I don't like Brian Breezy. I just don't, and I take that into account. I think the Lions do need defensive interior. So if you think Brian Breezy is an absolute stud, I think this is a perfectly fine pick. But I don't. I think that he's super inconsistent, injury prone, and the fact that he was debating whether he was coming out this year or not should give you a little bit of an inkling to where he should go in the draft, and that's probably in the 15 to 25 range. If he's deciding, he's like, I don't know if I should come out or not, it's because he doesn't have a high enough draft stock. Guys who hear, hey, you're going to be a top 10 pick, there's no reason for them to return. But I just don't see the consistency. I see some high-end reps, but I mean, you can't say, he had a 21 pressure season. That's fine. He had 5 in the last game, in the conference championship game, where I specifically was like, okay, this guy's dominating this UNC tackle here. Let's see who else does. Let's see if anybody else does it. A couple of days went by, and I kind of forgot about it. And then I watched Isaiah Foskey dominating the same dude. And yes, they could both be really good players dominating a lesser tackle. But to me, I also watched some other UNC games, and players still dominated that tackle. So I can't think that that's very projectable to the NFL. I look at all the other games, I see a lot of issues. So for me, I'm not fully on board with this pick. I'm always going to be honest with you guys. I'd be more than happy for Breezy to prove me wrong. I'd be very happy. But given what I know now, and given the fact that I want to be honest with you always, I think this would be a pick where I'd possibly give it an F. I would say maybe a D. Pick number 7, the Raiders going Will Levis. I don't think Will fits a McDaniels system. I know they need a QB. But personally, I'd go after someone like Garoppolo. I don't think there's going to be that many suitors for Garoppolo, given the injury history. But I would personally go with something that has worked in a McDaniels system. That's going to be a more conservative quarterback. Maybe in the 3rd or 4th round, you can get Tanner McKee, and that would be great for you. But Will Levis has just a little bit too jumpy of an arm, and I think he'd run into the same issues that Derek Carr did in this offense that's designed for a distributor, not really a big playmaker. So that's where I'm at with that pick. Myles Murphy for the Falcons, that's the best guy to fall to them at the moment. I'm having my issues with Myles Murphy for sure, and I'm getting a little bit concerned. He's definitely taken a fall off from last year. So we got to go some more in depth with him. I'm excited for all 22 to finally come out on him. You can watch game tape. That's the thing. Line, you can watch game tape because the camera's always focused in on it. But there's just a different perspective when you get to see the exact same angle with the exact same style for every single edge rusher. Haven't seen it for Myles because it's not out yet, but fingers crossed it comes out soon. Pick number 9. So this is AR. I feel like AR is going to fall. He's going to be going higher than where he should in a normal draft because there's very few amount of QBs. But a team like the Panthers, especially if it's going to be a new head coach, new regime, they like new QBs, but they like to be safe, right? So I don't believe that they'd go after a huge project. I feel like this is where maybe if Matt Rule were still here, he'd go after Anthony Richardson because he'd be like, hey, like, you need me here to develop this guy. This is going to be probably, I hope Wilkes actually stays as the head coach. He's doing a great job. But usually you're able to make do with guys, like if you're going to be a first year, you're going to make do with the guy that you have and take someone you know is going to be an impact player. Anthony Richardson has too many negative reps right now for me to say he should be a top 10 pick. He's at 31 on my big board, and we'd probably be like, so yeah, he's where the hell is he at? I don't even know. Oh, he's number 33, but he'll be number 32 when I take out Jared Verse. So he's number 32 on my big board, including the value of the quarterback. But it's just, man, he's a big project, and this is a team where I don't think that's going to work. I don't. I think there's too many moving pieces. I want to get more of a distributor here. Derek Carr is my ideal fit for this team. Just somebody where he can distribute, but he's not a game manager. Like, this team has some big weapons on it. I love Terrace Marshall. I love DJ Moore. Those are guys that would be absolutely excellent with Derek Carr. So for me, that's where I'm going to be putting my eggs in that basket, not in something that won't work for another 2 to 3 years. Next, we have Skoronski to the Titans. I think that's more than fine. He feels like a Tennessee Titan as well. It's crazy that he's there at number 10 or even in the top 15 because the amount of people who say the Tennessee Titans are God tier and how dumb I was because I didn't believe in them. Over the past 3 times I've done it, I mean, you guys have proven me wrong twice. But this time, third time's the chime, baby. Third time's the charm was what you usually say, but Disneyland, they say something else. I digress. Skoronski, you need offensive line. Taylor Warren's probably going to be gone. So tackle or guard, doesn't matter. Here we go, Jared Verse. Decided to return. And to me, that says one thing. The NFL wasn't high on him. It's not that he didn't believe in himself, but the NFL was not high on him. And I think that has to do with the fact that it's 1 year of production from an actual reputable school. No disrespect to Albany, but Florida State, obviously, you're going to factor that in a lot more. But 2, he played most of the year on an ankle injury. So it's not his best self. So maybe you heard, hey, you're going to be an early second-round pick. And you're like, damn, dude, the next year edge class, I'm looking at some guys, doesn't look like it's going to be nearly as good as this one. And I am a top 10 talent, and I deserve to be so. All the analysts say I should be around that top 10. That would make sense. And I think that's what happened. I think he heard, hey, you're going to be a late first, early second. And he's like, dude, I know I'm a top 10 player. When I'm healthy, I'm a freaking baller. And I think he is. So he's going to go back for a final season. Sucks. But he's a damn good player, well-deserving of all the praise in the world. You guys might be wondering why I haven't put out positional rankings in a hot minute, because a lot of these really good players decide to return, and I don't want to waste your guys' time, nor mine with all the graphics, because, you know, January 14th is not that far away, or January 16th, not that far away. So I think waiting a couple weeks to be able to give you guys accurate rankings seems to make sense. But yeah, Jared Verse, if he were coming out, is a great fit for the Eagles. Again, it's going to suck because I'm going to continue this with the Eagles essentially having 1 first-round pick. But, you know, still, got to give credit where credit's due. We'll continue in the mindset that he's coming out. But it sucks. It sucks. A lot of my favorite players in this class are starting to decide to return and stuff. There's still doubts whether C.J. Stroud will even come out because he's like, oh, I want to win a natty. I think he can next year potentially. But that's a topic for another day. Texans going Quentin Johnston. I love the pick. I'm not going to complain about it at all. I'll scroll down so you guys get to see a little bit more on my board. Pick number 13, the Jets going Paris Johnson. I'll talk actually a little bit quicker about Quentin Johnston. You know, a lot of people are saying Mike Williams for the comp. It's not a bad comp at all. But getting an ex-wide receiver to basically bail, I think DeAndre Hopkins is a little bit closer of one than Mike Williams. Not saying like the talent-wise, but the play style. Similar more to DeAndre Hopkins, but he's going to be a great X receiver for Bryce Young, where if there is pressure coming in, you're 100% going to want to have a guy you can bail that can bail you out, and he's one of those guys who I trust. Paris Johnson Jr. to the Jets. I really do like the fact that the Jets can get a versatile offensive lineman. I'm a little bit lower on Paris Johnson myself. I think his anchor, not too good, and for the people who don't understand that, he gets pushed back a lot easier than other players. Doesn't have a very good re-anchor, so my God. I watched Joe Alt, so the reason I'm lower on Miles Murphy is because I was like, hey, let's watch him versus Joe Alt, who's supposed to be a top 10 player next year. Holy crap. That guy should be my number one. That guy's going to be my number 1 player, arguably over Caleb Williams. His ability, he gets pushed back, but he puts his foot in the ground, he re-anchors, and you cannot move him. That's an elite level tackle. You get to see offensive tackles in the NFL all the time get driven back by good edge rushers. I think Paris Johnson will continue that trend, but the talent is for sure noticeable. Very good player, but guaranteed to be a starter in the NFL for a long time? Maybe. Guaranteed to be a Pro Bowl level tackle? I don't think so. So Paris Johnson, a lot of people love him to death. I'm just going to say let's halt our horses a little bit on that one. Commanders going with Joey Porter. I love him, my favorite corner in the draft. Some people say he looks a little bit slow in my Discord, and I respect that. A lot of people don't think that he's as good as I do, but I think he's going to be running 4.4s. I think he tested out like 4.48 anyways. He's really lengthy at 6'2", 200, has amazing form, and the best thing about him is his field awareness. You see him in zone, he understands what's going on around him, the whole play that's developing, and he's an amazing guy against the run. This guy is going to be, in my opinion, if he goes to the right system, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, honestly, that's as high as I think of when it comes to corners. I thought that way of Sauce Gardner. He went to the perfect system. I think that's the same with him. Broderick Jones to the Patriots, hand and glove fit. Not even going to talk about it. Great player. Georgia tackle, replacing Georgia tackle. Seahawks going Trenton Simpson. We watched some Trenton Simpson the other day. He is my linebacker 4. And I know a lot of people think that's insane. I don't think there's a very big gap between linebacker 3 and 4, so you could say linebacker 3. And they're totally different styles. But Trenton Simpson still has a long way to go. He has a long ways to go. Very athletic, but maybe a little bit overrated in terms of his athleticism. That's my only real issue with him in terms of the way the draft community sees him. We all know he's a project. I don't think anybody says that Trenton Simpson's going to be coming in and be a top 5 linebacker immediately, but he has a lot of room to grow, and he has grown already, and that's wonderful. I give credit where credit's due. And he could end up being my linebacker 3 just because of the growth that I have seen, but I digress. He's still a good player, and he's going to work in Seattle. You know, freaking Pete Carroll's going to make this guy into a superstar. So I'd still give the pick an A- or a B+. Really good player. Pittsburgh Steelers going with Cyrus Torrence. I personally would hate this, but that's because I see a lot of bad reps from Osiris Torrance here and there. I still believe in him. I still have him as a second rounder, but at 17, I think that there's better corners on the board. You got Keely Ringo. I think that, like, the Steelers, we already give up enough yards through the air as it is, and we actually give a lot on the ground too, but we give up enough yards, so having a player who gives up yards, not always a bad thing, but Keely Ringo has the potential to be an Trevon Diggs-esque. I think that's worth spending the first round pick on, given that he's on the board. But offensive line, I'm never going to super criticize it. I'd give it a B- because he's still a good player, and it's still going to be addressing a spot where I think he should be. We should at least address, but man, it feels like a reach, but it feels like something the Steelers could be into doing. So I don't say it's unrealistic, and I think it's a position we can draft. I just don't like the value given the player. Pick number 18, the Lions going Bijan. I like that pick myself. I've done it myself as well. So I'm not going to complain about that at all. Packers, Michael Mayer. It's Michael Mayer. He's a lot of people love him, and honestly, I don't give him the respect he deserves because the only all-22 tape that was out on him, he looked very lackluster in. But I saw him go toe-to-toe versus Myles Murphy and be able to win blocking that way. So we got to see some more reps from him in terms of that. So 20, Tampa Bay going Keely. He fell way too far. He got toasted by Marvin Harrison Jr., but at the same time, everybody pretty much got toasted by Marvin Harrison Jr. except for Joey Porter, but he didn't have that many reps against him, to be fair. But Keely Ringo, you're taking the potential. He needs to be a deep corner. That's the thing. You cannot use him in a man-to-man system where he's going to be facing guys and covering them within 5 yards or 10 yards. He's going to be giving up ground. You saw it versus Tennessee. You saw it versus Ohio State. This guy can get cooked. But his best ability is his ability to track the ball and his ability to make up ground. And he has a great frame for that. I think that that's going to be his best system. Think about similar to Trevon Diggs. I think he's going to be a great player in that similar mold. Christian Gonzalez is a great fit for the Jaguars. I've done that pick myself many times. I comp him to Tyson Campbell, so I think it's perfectly fine. Giants going Jordan Addison. I love it too. I do. Just really, really good player. He's going to fit very well in that Darius Slayton role. It's going to be weird having multiple guys under 6 foot. I know it says he's 6 foot, but it said Amon Ra St. Brown was 6 foot before he found out. I think it was 6'1" listed, and he was 5'11". We'll see about that. But having a much shorter supporting cast there in New York, going to be interesting to see. But Baltimore Ravens going Jackson Smith and Jigba. I make that pick myself. No issues with it. Getting Lamar a bigger receiver, never a bad thing. Getting a deep threat for Herbert, never a bad thing. I think going tackle here wouldn't be a bad idea. But I'm not going to shame Jalen Hyatt. There's multiple picks you can make, and that's a good one to make. Vikings going Cam Smith. I'll scroll down a little bit more so you guys get to see a little bit more on my board. Cam Smith for the Vikings is hand in glove. I love that. That's one of my favorite picks so far in this draft. So, yeah, big position of need and great player of value. Lucas Van Ness. So he decided to come out, I think, as a true junior. So this could reflect where the NFL thinks he is. I'm not nearly as close to that. He's a project for sure. And we all know those white athletic freak edge rushers seem to be great in Cincinnati, but he might be a second round pick for that. I'm sure he was like, dude, I don't think I can really boost my stock very much given how crap Iowa looks in general. So he could have just come out saying, hey, you're going to be a second round pick or a third round pick. We don't know if you're going to get any higher because the rest of your team doesn't allow you to be able to shine the way you should. I don't know. Maybe the NFL is super high on him because he is an athletic freak, but he's a good player. Just not first round grade for me. I think edge rusher is a need for the Bengals. I think it's not a bad position to address. I think Lucas Van Ness is a great fit. I'd do it in the second if you are going to try to reach for that position. Broncos going Darnell Wright. I love it. Left tackle and right tackle versatility. He's played literally full years now at both, so cannot complain. Darnell Wright, he has great athleticism too. Has some reps in there where you're like, oh, I'm a little bit uncomfortable with it, but overall, honestly, you can't complain too much for a guy who can step in day one. Cowboys going Devon Witherspoon. You need a boundary corner. I think that's not awful to go after a guy who is 180 pounds when he has the ball skills that he does, which, to be fair, most of your team has great ball skills. So I do like Devon. Don't know if I would do it for the Cowboys. I'd rather go Jalen Jones because he's much bigger at 6'2", 205 pounds. But I know a lot of people love Devon Witherspoon, and I'm fine with him getting the respect he deserves. Brian Branch is my favorite pick for the Bills, so, awesome. And if you guys want to hear what I have to say about DeMar Hamlin, obviously it's a miracle. Like, it's an absolute miracle that he was able to survive. Let alone, not even mentioning the fact he's FaceTiming the Bills saying, like, love you guys and stuff. Insane. Unbelievably insane. But, yeah, I already did a video talking about it. No need to take up more time. Chiefs going B.J. Ojulari. He doesn't fit the Spag size of defender, so that's my only pushback there. But an amazing talent, unbelievable talent there. So I'm glad he's also getting the respect he deserves. And then the Eagles, technically with the one guy who's still in the draft, Clark Phillips. So I don't think Clark Phillips can really, truly play boundary. You're at the end of the first, I want to get a guy I know can play boundary. That's Jalen Jones, and he's very good in zone and in press. So I like that as a much better pick. But Clark Phillips has had some amazing games versus players, including the one who just went to the Giants, like Jordan Addison. So, at least you're having a really good matchup at least twice a year. So it's not a bad pick at all. So with that being said, let's jump right into the mock draft. So there you go. Got all the picks. Awesome. And they're not a sponsor of the channel, but if anybody ever drinks protein shakes, y'all know damn well that this Fairlife, yes, again, not a sponsor. Hail Mary is the sponsor. Olipop is the sponsor. And if you guys are ever wondering, like, what is Olipop? It's a healthier soda brand. The only reason I ever take on a sponsorship, which they don't pay me at all, I got a code so that I get money off because I buy it myself. Like, the only reason I take on these sponsorships is because of the fact that I just want to pay less for the stuff I buy every day. And it does help. It does help. So you can use that code for yourself. It's nice to be able to give back to you guys. But to be honest, it's been used like 10 times and it's all been by me. So feel free to be the first to use it. But, again, I'm not going to be Mr. Sourpuss in that case because I get my money off too. Let's get right into this. Let's have a good time. Pick number 32. So the usual suspects have gone in the first round for this team for me. And I think you, at this point, can look at an edge rusher. You can look at somebody who can play a corner for you because the value is just that good. But Felix Anudike-Uzomah, man, I really do think that guy's going to be special. Anton Harrison's here too. Man, it's tough because Laramie Tunsil wants to reset the tackle market. I don't know if you guys want to pay him that money. And if Anton Harrison is here in the second round, you're damn well sure that I'm gonna take him here. I mean, that's really tricky, man. Really tricky. You have another year because you did a 5th-year option on Tyus Howard, but you looked really good at guard too. And I really think Kenyon Green can play left tackle, not right tackle, but left tackle. I'm gonna send it full send here, baby. We're going to Anton Harrison, giving the middle finger to one of my favorite teams in the my actual favorite team, the Steelers. But sitting here, Jalen Jones is on the board. I'm not gonna overthink it. We need a tackle, or else we need a corner. And people say you don't need tackle. I don't trust Dan Moore against. I do not trust Dan Moore or Chikuma Okorafor against the edge rushers in our division. So I'd rather take a shot on someone who can make a true difference. But that player would be Anton Harrison, and not anybody else who's left. Pick number 34 for the Seahawks. Will Anderson and Trenton Simpson, pretty damn awesome dynamic duo. Antonio Johnson, I know we don't need edge rusher, we don't need safety that badly, but the value might be a little too good. Drew Sanders, I mean, I don't think you're getting 2 linebackers here. We're not pulling a damn Jaguars. Tight end, I own up. I made a mistake by drafting you guys at tight end last time. That's my fault, and I should not have done that. Defensive interior, we'll see if Jerzon Newton comes out. I'll scroll down so you guys get to see more on my board too. For me, I mean, I haven't done this before. Let's go Antonio Johnson. I know you guys value safety very highly. He can play in the slot. He can play a linebacker damn near. I actually think he can play as a boundary corner as well. I love the versatility, and the fact is the value is just too damn good. I want to get Antonio Johnson off the board ASAP. Pick number 35. Another team where I honestly would have been interested in Antonio Johnson is the Cardinals, and at this point, I'd be looking for somebody to make a real difference in my secondary. I'm looking at Tyreek Stevenson and Garrett Williams here, who I both am big fans of. So right here, I have Garrett Williams at 37, Tyreek at 54. But in the beginning, they had a very similar split. I had Garrett Williams as my 15th overall player. I love Garrett Williams. He had an ACL tear. So can you wait? Yes. But offensive line's also a need. Let's look at the offensive line. You got Voorhees here. It's tough to pass on Voorhees. We don't have a second round pick. Man, that's so tough. I love Garrett Williams. The big priority here is obviously Kyler Murray. So getting the best value is kind of paramount here. Andrew Voorhees is going to be the guy I get. He has tackle versatility as well. He's been considered to be a candidate to become a tackle there at USC. They decided to keep him at guard, which is probably where he's going to be in the NFL. But this team needs guard help as well. Get the guy who's just going to make the biggest impact and help out Kyler Murray the most, and that's going to be Andrew Voorhees. Pick number 36 for the Colts, CJ Stroud, now on the roster. So for me, you could look at a corner. Faison, I think, is up for a contract. And then you also, Kwan Williams, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's Kwan. Williams is also up for a contract. So Garrett Williams, I think, wouldn't be an awful choice. But I think guard, you still have John Michael Schmitz here who can play a really, really damn good guard spot for you. And he's up there in the north. He's gritty as hell. Great run blocker. I have never taken him for this team. He is not a center for you guys. He's going to be a guard. And that's perfectly fine because if a center gets injured, you can have him step in. And that's perfectly fine. So I like that versatility that you can have there. John Michael Schmitz is going to be that dude. I want to show him a little bit more respect because I do really like him. Pick 37 for LA, the Battle of Los Angeles. Blake Freeland is here. I think that's probably going to be the way I go. Edge rusher, again, I've been a very big advocate of edge rusher for the Rams. And, Felix is just so good. I love Felix. I got to watch, it's art watching him versus Anton Harrison. Both of them, it was a damn chess match. Both of them won multiple times each. And I'm going to go Felix. I love Felix. Pick number 38. So Raiders went Will Levis in the first. Again, I think that's a bit of a mistake. Blake Freeland could be a guy I do look at, but Luke Whippler feels like more of a guy who I'd be intrigued with. But I cannot pass on getting an actually good linebacker for you. My number 2 linebacker in the class, Drew Sanders. My number 1 is I actually ranked him backwards. Actually, no, I didn't. Tommy Eichenberg is my number 1. But Drew Sanders is going to be the guy who gets a little bit more hype. Because he played at Arkansas, former Bama edge rusher. So Drew Sanders, that guy's incredible too. Pick number 39. Whew. I mean, I could totally look at Tommy Eichenberg for this pick too, but this was Miles Murphy, if I'm not mistaken, and it was. So, Miles Murphy, that's a great start. Defensive interior, you still have some really good players, not named Siaki Ikak or Vin Dexter. I feel like Mozzie Smith's going to return. It just makes sense. You think about it, most of this Michigan team might return, saying, hey, we want to win a natty. And, I mean, Mozzie doesn't have that great of stock anyways. So I don't think at this moment of the video, I don't believe he's come out. But we're going to consider in this that he does not for fun's sake. Otherwise, I take Mozzie Smith in a heartbeat. So there you go. If he did come out, then you know what the best pick is. I'm going to go after a cornerback here. I think letting Garrett Williams develop for a year is going to be perfect. You have Casey Hayward there, where when Garrett Williams does come out, he's going to be like at least very seasoned mentally, because you have AJ Terrell there, an amazing mentor for the longevity of his career. And then you have Casey Hayward, who's a great guy, great veteran to be able to just have him take that next step in the beginning, which is awesome. So when he gets back from that ACL, he's going to be ready, and that is important. Pick number 40. I'm sorry, Anthony Richardson's your QB at the moment. Not because Anthony Richardson's bad, it just doesn't really help. Nolan Smith is just perfect. He literally is Hassan Reddick, but had a pectoral tear. I really like him. I really like him a lot. And he pops off every time. I just have to factor in that he's small, very scheme specific, because 235 just doesn't fly everywhere. He's going to fly on the field, but it just doesn't work in every system. And, that pectoral injury, when he uses his pectorals way too often, like his best ability is throwing a guy off him. Obviously, that requires rotator cuff as well as pectoral strength. Another reason why he probably tore it. But, hopefully he comes back. He's as well as he was playing this year. He developed his run blocking or his run stuffing, and, I give credit where credit's due. This guy's been awesome. He totally revamped his game. Pick number 41. Got an offensive tackle. That's great. Let's look at some wide receivers here. Majority of them were taken round 1. And I know that Keyshawn Butte is still on the board. Not going to take him because he was at some sex party or something really weird. You guys can look it up for yourself to look at the notes. But usually guys who are doing that in their free time, not always going to be looked at very positively by these NFL scouts who are just like, man, George Pickens had an NFL ex-receiver build, but his personality issues dropped him to the second. This guy has been looked at as a really good talent, but he had personality issues on the field, and now he's having issues off the field as well, and those are pretty big ones. So that's why I don't take him this early. But Josh Downs, man, he's an X factor at that receiving position. He's gonna be such a good, reliable target for whoever the hell the QB is there. Pick number 42 for the Saints. QB still is a position I would love to look at. I'm just way too low now on these QBs to draft Tanner McKee at this spot. I'd rather go Andy Dalton for another year, and then you can draft yourself another wide receiver. Like Rashee Rice would be such a good compliment to Chris Olave, and I'm giving Raw the respect he deserves. I've knocked him for not trying on every single rep, and the more I thought about it, the more the realization came that just the culture of SMU. You're paying your guys $31,000 a year. You're taking videos in cars, it's naturally designed for you to think that you're the best person on earth, and that's why we haven't done as well in the past 2 years, is because we started actually getting that mantra. And I think that in the NFL, you're very humbled by the fact that you're around talent that's better than you, or at least talent that's equivalent to you, and you get to see those players where maybe they did have that little infectious disease of the environment totally change to a much better person. And Raw has a great build. He has a great run after the catch ability, and he's worked on his hands. You can see the drop percentage definitely improve over his career. So I think in a better system, in a better environment, he's going to shine, and I want to give him the respect he deserves. We'll keep him in the South. I mean, hell, he's in Miami right now, and I'm really jealous because some of those you get to see how fun Miami is. So he likes the warm weather. We're gonna keep him in the warm weather. We're not gonna send him to damn New England. Rashee Rice out of SMU, we're taking him there at 42. Pick number 43 for the Browns. Edge rusher, to me, probably going to be the position I want to target the most. Andre Carter's there. He was able to defer his service till after his career, which is awesome. So I think that won't really impact his draft stock much, but maybe he has a lot more room to grow, so he might slip this far. Really good player, though. He's in my top, what is he, number 20? Where is he? Number 22. So, really good player. Really good player. Gotta give him respect where respect is due. Pick number 44 for the Jets. This is going to be Tommy Eichenberg, one of my favorite players in the draft, my number 30 player. They don't have him here in PFF, but I think NFL teams will be a lot higher on him than PFF maybe is. It's just, we'll see if Tommy Eichenberg decides to come out. He has yet to declare, but really damn good player. I think he's my linebacker one. I pray to God another one of my positional ranking 1 players does not return. I have a weird gut feeling it will, just because Ohio State did not get to the Natty. But hey, you know what? Really damn good player. This team could definitely use some extra linebacker help. 45 for Washington. I want to get some help on that offensive line, and I want to get some help on that interior offensive line. Luke Whippler, going to be that man. Pick number 46. So, offensive tackle, round 1. Round 2, I think getting a developmental edge rusher, never a bad thing. There's a list of dudes who are absolutely amazing, but you know what? My number 2 player in the class, Isaiah McGuire. It feels like Bill's the type of guy to snipe out on somebody that no one thinks is good except maybe a very, very few small select fan club. I am that small few select fan club. It's just awesome. The whole entire Discord loves this guy too. So, again, you guys don't like him? Well, I mean, come to the Discord. We'll see the tape, and then if you still don't, that's your own opinion. I respect that, and I hope you're wrong because I love watching good football, and I love Isaiah McGuire. Pick number 47. This is going to be J.L. Skinner all day, every day. JK. I already got friggin' Antonio Johnson. Whew. Saved myself from that one. That was almost way too quick on the trigger. Let's bounce back a second. Offensive line, to me, should be the need. Blake Freeland, you guys are totally right by the fact that he's too big to play. He's too big to play guard. We're gonna go with Lusagoon here. He's actually my center 1, but he's a 6-year senior who doesn't have that much hype because he has 1 year in a really, really big school. He was a UVA offensive lineman, and then he transferred to Michigan this past year. It was absolutely phenomenal. So I love Olusegun Oluwatimi. Just a guy who he's just super athletic, really good in the run, a consistent guy. And I don't think he gets the respect he deserves remotely. But the Steelers here, we got Jalen Jones. We have gotten Cyrus Torrance. And I'm thinking about going Blake Freeland. I think it might be too good to pass on. I know we need defensive interior, everybody. I know. But I can go next round Keandre Coburn, who weighs 343 pounds, and be perfectly fine. I can go Rook Arroyo, or whatever the hell you call him. And you can get that in the 3rd or the 4th round, and he's an absolute star as well. I don't know why he's coming out. Well, he might be out of eligibility. He's going to the Senior Bowl. He's going to rise up draft boards as well, so keep your eyes out on Rook. But I'm going to do it. I know linebacker is also a position. You can get Jack Campbell, and he's going to be a great leader. There's a lot of places we can go. That's the positive thing. We don't have to worry about losing out on good prospects. But Blake Freeland, just a super consistent guy. He's going to help out in the run game, but he's very consistent as a pass blocker. And at 6'8", someone who I think, if he develops properly, can totally take over for Dan Moore, someone who can take over for Chukwuma Okorafor and save us a lot of money in the process. Pick 49, Bijan as well as Brian Breezy are the dudes. So edge rusher, I didn't give enough credit to James Houston, so I want to apologize for that. I did not use him in my reasoning in this past mock draft, and it deserves to be like that. Now, do I think they'll probably go Noah Sewell in the end of the day? Yes, but I also think that we know that Noah Sewell isn't ready, and it's fair to say he should be around 100 on the board. But Jack Campbell, he's just tell me he's not built to be a Detroit Lion. His work ethic's incredible. His zone coverage, he has great field awareness. There was a rep, I think it was against Ohio State, where he picked off C.J. Stroud. You could see him shift his hips 3 different times, and it perfectly mirrored how the route was going to be. And he picked off C.J., and it wasn't even C.J.'s fault. So Jack Campbell has some incredible traits, something that nobody talks about. Luke Musgrave is my favorite pick here for the Dolphins. Tight end, obviously a position that you guys do want to use. Does he block as well as maybe a Shanahan-style tight end should? No. But my God, is his upside unbelievable. Great player. You don't like him, go with another tight end. Pick number 51. This time I'm not going to draft 2 tight ends for this team, so don't worry because I'm very intrigued. But I'm going to get an edge rusher I'm looking at an edge rusher who's really good at stuffing the run. I think Foskey could be something that's very attractive to Green Bay. You could definitely see Keon White being that type of guy. Might be my type of dude. Might be my guy to go after because he is in a very similar mold. I think if he loses 10 pounds, he's going to be absolutely phenomenal as an outside edge rusher. But, somebody who does pop off. And he's an athletic freak at 285 pounds. Again, I say that quite often, but there are these guys who are just very athletic at their size. They're more athletic than they should be. So I'll give him that title of athletic freak. Maybe a little bit too liberally, but we'll find a different terminology for it another day. But yeah, somebody who's going to be helping stuffing the run. Rashawn Gary out for pretty much half of the year, so it's a very big thing there in Green Bay. Keely Ringo was the first round pick there for the Buccaneers, so I'm not going to waste any time by going Dalton Kincaid, which is my favorite tight end to go for them here in round 2. Pick number 53, Christian Gonzalez, was the first round pick. So for me, I want to get Darnell Washington because of the fact that this guy can act as another tackle. It helps out the run game, and you're potentially getting another Mercedes Lewis, which he spent most of his career there in Jacksonville. So I think Peterson loves his tight ends. It's a great spot to see him potentially develop into the player that we all hope that he can be. Pick 54 for the Giants. Now, running backs are still on the board. That's the thing. That's the story of the draft, is that the running backs, they fall because there's just so many of them. You got wide receiver in the first. Tyreek Stevenson is just a little too attractive for me right now. Might not exactly fit the way that you'd want him to. I think Forbes would be a little bit better of a fit, but 6 foot 212 and has ungodly man-to-man press ability. I think that's totally worth trying to groom him into just a more aware player of the rest of the field. Pick 55 for the Bears. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Eli Ricks too. I mean, he should be drafted in this draft as well. But the Bears, we drafted Jalen Carter, round 1. That's the huge. I think you could look offensive line, or you can look wide receiver. And you got Rome Odunze here. You got Zay Flowers here. All these guys who I really, really like. Xavier Hutchinson as well. So it's something you can wait for round 3, in my opinion. You can take your pick of it in round 3. I would want to look at more of a position that has less prospects in it. Cody Mock could be a really fun one for sure. Somebody who's very athletic, used to the north as well. Oh, Christian Haynes would be so awesome if he actually came out. He decided to return. So kind of pigeonholed into going after the defense right here. Just not good enough value there on the offense. And I really do want to just continue looking at an edge rusher here. And there's so many good ones on the board. There really is. And you can't go wrong with it. This is another position you can go with later. But we'll go Foskey. Again, out of respect for him. A lot of people like him a lot. I'm sure the NFL will be extremely intrigued with his talent. Pick 56. There is no right tackle. No. I'm not going to take DeJuan Jones this early. Defensive interior, though, there are some dudes. And I wish Mozzie Smith were available, but I feel like Tyler Davis is kind of what you were looking for out of Jerry Tillery. He is somebody who gets absolutely no respect, and I would be perfectly fine if he goes in the first round. Just a really, really good pass rusher that, again, does not get the respect he deserves. Pick 57 for the Lions. So we've done a lot. We got Jack Campbell in there. We've gotten Brian Breezy in there. We have also gotten Bijan Robinson. Let's go a corner. Let's do it. And Eli Ricks is here. This is just the right value for him. He's more of a zone corner in my eyes, but man, can you develop him, and he'll be perfectly fine. It's pick 57. You damn well you damn well better take that pick. So pick 58 for the Bengals. Took Lucas Van Ness, round 1. And offensive tackle, to me, is still a position of need. And this is a perfect fit for Cody Mock. If I'm not mistaken, Cordell Volson's on your squad, former teammate of Cody Mock as well. So would love to see them back and run it back again. Pick number 59. So Panthers, we've had our ride, Nolan Smith and Anthony Richardson. Let's look at another corner. I think Emmanuel Forbes would be kind of fun. I really do. That could be a really intriguing option here. I know a lot of people want to get another wide receiver for this team. I just don't see the value there. I really don't. So I'm going to go Emmanuel Forbes. Also, PFF, can you please update your damn top 200 or top like 300? a little bit annoying. A little bit annoying when I'm having to dodge all these players who've already declared. But yeah, we still have some really good players on the board. Some really good ones. Definitely want to show some love where love is due. Pick number 60 for the Cowboys. Got a boundary corner in Devon Witherspoon. I think that's great. I don't see the value here at offensive line. Just don't right now. So, man, I always just go offensive line and corner for you guys. You could look at another edge rusher. I don't think anybody's valuable enough, but you could kick Carl Brooks to the inside. He could be a really nice potential hybrid rusher for you. But tight end, I also know that you guys are probably going to look for one. And I love me some Sam Laporta. Where's he at on my board? Where is he? 35. So y'all know I'm a big fan of Sam Laporta. He's still my tight end 1 at the moment. So we'll see once all 22 is out for all tight ends. We'll see how much I really love him. But given what I've seen as of last year's all 22 and then this year's game tape, I'm pretty confident that he's an absolute stud. Pick 61, already gotten a DB for this team. Yeah, he still got some stud running backs. Yeah, the Cowboys could have went after Jahmyr Gibbs too, but go Devon A-Chain around later, and who cares? I'm going to show some love for Zach Charbonnet here. It's a little bit of a lazy pick, but it is a power running back that fits very well into your system. It's a late second, so does it matter that much? Not really, but Zach Charbonnet, he just is a very nice compliment to James Cook and does not pretty much invalidate the fact that he should be there. Pick number 62. Do I go Rook Arroyo here? I love going Rook. But offensive tackle, I'm going to go Graham Barton. I think I did that in my past mock draft as well. Graham Barton, I mean, you guys get to see where he is there on my board at number 70. I actually do have him, if I'm not mistaken, above. Where's he at? Do I have him above him? I'm tripping balls wherever the hell the other tackle is. Where is he? There he is, Blake Freeland. Okay, I don't have him above Blake Freeland, but you see how close he is, but how far he goes in this draft away from him. Just a really damn good player. And ending this off, how he's going to somehow steal Jahmyr Gibbs. Once again, just like my last mock draft. So that's going to be the video, guys. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll scroll this while I'm doing my outro. I do appreciate everything you guys do. Again, feel free to join the Discord. Would love to see you guys there. See you on the far side. Peace.